We had no money. We had like, what, $500 or something ridiculous. I worked at a bakery, a chicken hatchery, and I sold Avon. I was turned down for a student loan. The guy sitting behind the desk saying, well, if it was your husband applying for the loan, that would be different.
Gender barrier right away.
And so the idea was, how do we help these little small home-based businesses with trying to build and grow their businesses? You look at people and you think, oh, they've got it all. But until you actually hear their stories, the ups and the downs, the tragedies they might have had, and how they got to where they are today, by doing that, you're transforming them to say, I am okay now and I can continue on. I want people to have a shift in mindset. I want them to embrace new paradigms, seizing opportunities to excel in their industry, whatever that might mean for them.
So many people are facing challenges today.
What were the top 3 key mindsets that supported you in your journey?
I just want to quickly thank you for beginning to watch this podcast episode. If you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to do so. Would love it if you join our community. You'll also be up to date on the latest content, and this really helps me reach out to more guests. You can also visit our website, centerformindfulness.ca. There's free events about mindfulness and laughter. Hope you enjoy this episode. I am beyond excited to introduce today's guest, Barbara Mowat. She's an exceptional human being, an international business development specialist, entrepreneur, and president of GroYourBiz. She's a trailblazer, changemaker, thought leader. If you're really interested in learning mindset to create change and elevate your life, this one might be for you. Plus, we have a bonus to make sure you stick around till the end, because we'll be giving away tickets to her upcoming conference, Accelerate 2024. Actually, the tickets are worth $750 for in-person and $250 for online access. You don't want to miss out on the 2 clues I'll be sharing in the podcast, and you'll be eligible to win those tickets. I'm so excited. A warm welcome to you, Barbara, and thank you for your generosity in offering those tickets. So warm welcome to you.
My pleasure.
I wonder if we can begin at the beginning. What led you to this deep interest of adventure in life that led you around the world, creating so much change, creating so many connections, supporting so many people? How did this begin, your interest, being an incredible entrepreneur? Love to hear the background.
Thank you. It wasn't planned. It was a journey. And so I'm going to go back to childhood. I grew up in a little northern community town called Dryden, Ontario. We had a boarding home, lost my mother when I was 11. I was running the boarding home when I was age 14 and going to school. And we were on the wrong side of the tracks. We were Ukrainians. And the wrong side of the tracks meant that you'd get teased. Go eat your garbage rolls instead of cabbage rolls. It was an interesting childhood because I always felt that I didn't fit in. And then one day, the CNR surveying company came into the town, and I met somebody. I was age 14 when I met my husband-to-be, who was going to be 4.5 years later.
Oh, wow.
His name was Barbara Mowat. So I was a Kelka. Now I'm a Mowat, and I'm going to share our journey. And it was like, I knew that in order for me to get anywhere in the world, I needed education. That was important. And so living in Dryden, you usually went to Southern Ontario. You applied. My grades were always good. I always had excellent grades, A+. And Barry wanted to move out west. So there we were, 17 and 20, getting into a car and moving out to BC.
Wow.
There's 3 universities there. There's SFU, there's UBC, there's Trinity Western. You'll get into one of them. But we had no money. We had, what, $500 or something ridiculous. So he got his job in surveying, and I took 3 jobs. I worked at a bakery, I worked in a chicken hatchery, and I sold Avon, just anything to make money. Because I was turned down for a student loan of only $5,000 at SFU. And I remember the guy sitting behind the desk saying, if it was your husband applying for the loan, that would be different. And I thought, you've got to be kidding. We're talking 1969. And it was like, oh my God.
A gender barrier right away.
Oh, right away. That's
Yeah.
why I go back. And I thought, something's got to change.
Wow.
So I just went, okay, we'll do this. So we got married in September, came out in June 2069, got married in September 9th, because the minister wanted us to do 6 weeks of talking, because we were young, right? We were young. What do we know about relationships and marriage? But we did. We said, sure, yeah, ask us anything. Yeah, we'll do this. Little did I know that 10 months later, my son would come. A baby was born, and it was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I remember Barry coming home, and I'm bawling, I'm crying, and he's going, what's the matter? And I went, I'm pregnant. And he went, well, that's great. I always wanted to be a father before I was 21. And it was like, oh yeah, easy for you to say.
Wow.
What about my education? What about my education? And he said, since when can't you go to school and have a child at the same time? And I thought, wow, that was 69. That's pretty awesome for somebody to say that, a man to say that in 1969. So little did I know that's what we would do. And then child number 2 came. So throughout the university and working, my 2 little kids would come to SFU, sit in the lecture halls, Allie taking notes. And then I got a teaching job. And then from the teaching job, I taught for 15 years. So I got accepted in a master's at counseling at UBC for counseling psychology, where we have our mutual professor, Dr. Norm Amundsen, who we just found out how lovely that is. And so again, after teaching for 15 years, high school, college, university, there was a crash in BC. For those of us who remember Canada, the crash where interest rates went up. It was like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. We just about lost our house.
Wow.
1980 and 1981. That's when interest rates went up to 23%.
Wow.
It was ridiculous. And it was like, okay, what? And I had just quit my job at the university thinking, I'll start my own career. And it was like, oh my God, everything's crashing. But I knew that because I came from a small town, we had been in a lot of the little towns in British Columbia, whether it was Presbyterian, BC, population 381, Fort St. John, no matter what. I started getting involved with BC government that was trying to help these small businesses. And so the idea was, how do we help these little small home-based businesses with trying to build and grow their businesses? Because in reality, the only place to really do business and sell your products would be coming to Vancouver. So what do? Do you come to Vancouver and say, Mister, will you buy my cup?
Yeah.
Will you buy my design? Will you buy my jewelry that I'm wearing? And it was really important to say, how do we help these businesses go from micro to small to medium to large? And that was when I came up with the concept of Uniquely BC. And Uniquely BC was taking the chance of putting together this incredible program called the Home-Based Business Program, way before home-based businesses were even considered, right? And so it was a journey of what do we have to do next? So we started a magazine, Home Business Report. The first show was absolutely successful. We helped these people in different places. I negotiated the best contract with the government to say, let's help these small businesses. Let's help them, because I knew what it was like to be helped with my husband and me working really hard. And so we ended up putting together a program that was allowing them to be part of a big trade show where they would have exposure to more than just their little community. Nothing wrong with little communities, but do you go out every Saturday and Sunday and put your products on a table and say, buy my products? Like, where is that going to get you? That might give you some good things. And at the same time, there was a crisis in the sense of People weren't, fishing industry was gone down, mining industry was gone down, forest industry was going down. What were people going to do? And the only way is to create things that they could sell. So as your viewers might see, if they're watching you live, I'm not sure what they're doing, they will see my background in my house. Every one of those products, including everything I wear, is from an artist that made them, from someplace in Canada where it was made. I can go through and say, oh, okay, the couch, there's a leather couch back there. It was made from a guy, Brent, in Cochrane, Alberta. Just everything that I'm wearing, right? It's all about how do we help these small businesses take their products, which were beautiful, and help them grow. So that's what Uniquely was. So Uniquely BC grew into Uniquely Alberta, grew into Uniquely Prairies, grew into Uniquely Winnipeg, Uniquely Ontario. And then I started the Home-Based Business Association, where we were saying home-based businesses don't need a hands out. They need a hands up. They need a hands up. So we have to help them with various sponsors. So the first show I did was 100% government sponsored in BC. Then Alberta came and they said, we want to bring in some corporations. And I said, let me do that. Went to Microsoft, went to various corporations. Ontario, the president at the time was Tony Comper, and he wanted to do it 100. He says, why aren't we doing this out west? And I said, I don't have the funds to do it. He said, we'll support the first one. So Uniquely Ontario was 100% corporate sponsors. So we had a model. We had government, mixed, and corporate. So which one do you think was the most successful? I'll ask you that question. Which one? Can you guess? No.
Business?
Mixed. Government has to be involved because they're part of changing bylaws. Home-based businesses were illegal. We weren't allowed to have, I wasn't allowed in Abbotsford to operate a home-based business. And I went, why? Retailers were saying, you're taking away, you're the underground economy. You're not really a business. You're the underground economy. You're not paying taxes. And I said, let's change the rules. Let's have a home-based business tax. We have to change. So we started this whole movement of home-based businesses growing, home-based business associations. I had a magazine called Home-Based Business Report, working for people working from home. Did that for 10 years. Now I'm becoming known, right? You're asking me what was my start. What started happening is that other countries, Slovenia was the first international one. Somebody heard me speak from Slovenia, involved with small business in Slovenia. And can you bring us? Yeah, I said, so we brought our crew to Slovenia. Then we started going to the various, so Uniquely Slovenia was actually launched in the Los Angeles gift show. So it became a part of my life where it was like now it wasn't just local or national, it was now global. And going to different countries. So who needed the most support? People in Southeast Asia, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Malaysia, then Africa, Uganda, Rwanda, all of them. So I was going to all of these places to say, this is what our program is. And we brought our teams with us. We were the first ones in 2003 to go to Afghanistan. It was March 2003. The war was technically over. And in June 2003, I said to my crew, do you want to go to Afghanistan? Let's go. And so they said yes. And on my team were incredible people. And I'll give them a plug. Jennifer McMillan was with Beautiful BC magazine, had been doing a lot of things with Canadian Living back in the 70s, and then moved to BC, and now with Beautiful BC magazine, Jimmy Pattison's book. We had Emma Quinn from the Toronto Guild Shop. I wanted people who understood what had to happen to develop products. I then had Anu Agarwal, who had Shastra from India, now living in the US. They understood product. And then, I don't know if Robert Redford's store was Sundance catalog in Sundance stores. I had the audacity to call him up and say, here's what I'm doing in BC. Would one of your buyers come up? I was blessed because Brent Beck, who is the partner with Robert Redford and general manager, somehow I talked to them and they said, yeah, I'll come up and see. And he saw what I was doing.
Wow.
So him and his wife came with us to Slovenia. And then his wife joined the team to come to Afghanistan. So we were all 5 women.
Oh, what a
It was
group.
wonderful. We worked in Afghanistan to help the women with their design and what can we do to make a difference for them. And it was incredible to see that the woman that Mahbouba Wazizi is her name, she was the head of the Women's Economic Association in Afghanistan. And it was wonderful to work with them. So then years go by and I get a call from Mahbouba Wazizi in 2011. I'm in Ottawa doing a workshop in Ottawa under international trade. And I get a tap on the shoulder and it's Mahbouba Wazizi. And she says, we're now 10,000 women.
Oh.
Now, of course, it's collapsed now in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
She's now living in the UK. She's going to write a book. And so we're still in touch.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, what I want to emphasize, my career and what I even do today has been based on, you talk about mindset. It's not just about, oh, how much can you make this year? What are you doing? It's about relationship marketing. And it's about building relationships. It's changing the mindset of business today to say, really, if you don't build a relationship with the people you're dealing with, how are you going to grow? Because I lived in a small community, okay, Dryden, Ontario, population 5,000. I think there was one dentist in town. I don't know how many, but I'm saying you go to the dentist, but there's no click, there's no relationship. He just, do the teeth and leave kind of thing. As soon as there's a new dentist that comes into town, you're probably going to think, why am I staying with the old one?
Now you have some choice. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I think that people have to be reminded about that. You have choices. And today you have choices of where you shop, how you shop, who you relate to, who do you want to do business with. And so I always say the person you meet today might be the person you do business with tomorrow, because it is all about relationship marketing. And I think that's been my story. My story has been, you mentioned that I am doing this Accelerate conference. I'm working with people that have built their businesses from 20 years ago. They're amazing now. They're multi-million-dollar companies now. And it's so great. It's so great to still have a relationship with them where I can say, will you come and do this presentation for me? And they say yes.
Yeah. I would love to talk about the conference too, but I just want to go back. You've shared a wealth of knowledge just from your journey in life. And at the end here, you were speaking about relationship marketing as one of the mindsets to create this change, to really elevate life. And I want to come back to that in a moment. But if we go all the way back, you faced so many obstacles, so many challenges. And there's something, what would you say, so many people are facing challenges today and obstacles, and whether it's racial, ethnic biases, whether barriers, whether financial, hearing no's when they're applying to a job or to a school, getting rejected. And somehow for you, that wasn't a factor that kept you down. What would you say to people who are facing something right now? From your journey, what were the 3 top key mindsets that supported you in your journey?
I think one of the first ones is be true to yourself. Know your values and what's going to be there at the end. What do you want to remember? Your house, your bank account, or the people that were part of your life?
That's meaningful. Like it's a heart space you're sharing. Like what impact is left? The way we touch other people's lives in a positive way. That's legacy.
You said the right word there. You said my first company, it still exists, by the way, is called Impact Communications, because you do have to have impact. Like when you go into a new country, when you go and meet with people in a village, will they remember you? How do you want to leave it? How do you want to leave them? What memories? Be true to yourself. Try to do something that isn't you, and you carry that through. My kids keep on saying, Mom, when are you going to retire? You're 72. When are you going to retire? And I'm like, age is just a number. And I love listening to the women that are the elders. I listened to, when I was in New York, the wonderful Irish woman from Ireland who was the president of Ireland, and she's in her 80s, and also the wonderful Jane Goodall. And the president of the Ireland, she said, I don't have hope, I have determination, because there's so many elderly women, and I could put myself in, that are doing amazing things. And it is about giving back. What I've done this, what can I give back now? What is my hope? And so that phrase, I don't have hope, I have a determination. Hank Rogers uses that now too. There's a lot of people that are saying, I don't have hope now. You know how we say, we hope it gets better for our kids. We hope the climate change. We hope that the world understands and believes in climate action and climate change now. We hope. But it's now, as elders and as elderly people, we have an obligation to give back to the next generation and the next generation. So to me, that's a mindset too, is what do I have to do now? What's the next step? Yeah.
So another quality you're naming is not just wishful. You can be hopeful, but you're determined. Like you're clearly very action driven, and you've not let a no stop you, right? Like you've had a lot of no's in your life and lost.
I still have no's.
Still no's.
I still have no's. They don't end. The no's don't end, right? You think, oh, this person should be right. So you just don't give up, right? Believe in yourself and don't give up.
And I'm still digesting as you shared your story about being like a young teen, losing a mother, and then running a boarding home. Is that what it was? You said
there wasn't many boarders left, but I was still left in the house alone with my dad and 2 boarders, 3 boarders, right? So it's running back. I'm in grade 10 and 11 and 12, right? I'm in high school.
Yeah.
So instead of after, I don't know, in normal lives, you would see after school ends, kids would go down, we would go down to the bowling alley, have chips and a Coke, French fries and a Coke. I ran home to cook supper. So it was like, my life was very different. I was on my own, period. And so it was like, yeah, I could do this. But education was always top. So I don't care if it was midnight, if I was still working on the essays, the assignments that I had to do, I made sure that they were done, because I knew that was going to get me to the next level of where I visualized I wanted to be. And I did not know what I wanted to be, by the way. I did not know that I wanted to be an educator. I did not know. In fact, I probably, in all honesty, I used to sketch. In all honesty, I saw myself as a fashion designer. I thought one day I'll do these creations and get into that world, because I would read a lot of, oh, this might sound like fluff, but it wasn't fluff. I would read a lot of Hollywood magazines, see the gowns, right? Because you can still buy them and pick them up at a very inexpensive way. And so I would look at that. And then, so that was as a kid, ages 15, 16. And then when I was in my 30s, maybe it was 40s, there were all of these workshops on, a lot of people were starting to put together auditoriums full of women and bring famous people in to speak. They still go on, right? Women's, not only women's conferences, but lecture halls and that. And they would bring famous women in. And in Vancouver, there was a whole series. I can't even remember who did this. Maybe it was a bank or somebody. But I remember once having the opportunity to meet Debbie Reynolds. And I had the opportunity to hold her hand. And I never took a picture of the two of us. I'm sad. But it was okay, because I remember saying to her, when I was a little girl sitting in my home in Ontario, I would listen to, she had that song, Tammy's in Love. And I would dream of that. It's, oh my God. And now I'm touching her hands.
Wow.
And I'm looking at her. And she said, I can't remember. She touched my face like this. And she said, you're here now. And I went, yes, I'm here now.
Wow, what a moment.
And those are those moments where you feel, I'm here now. See, got
Wow.
tears in my eyes.
Yeah, so it's a very deeply impactful moment. The courage you had to actually follow that. And I guess it was surprising in a moment where it hit you like, wow, she's right in front of
I'm
me.
here.
Wow,
Yes.
this was a dream one day. And
Yeah.
but you followed your heart. One of the qualities you described is determined and just hopeful, being determined. And here you are in front of someone that you admired, looked up to. I can really deeply appreciate the sense of the vulnerability in sharing these moments, these deeply touching moments.
Oh, it's you that's doing it, though,
Yeah.
Dr. Kazim. It's you that's doing it. You're
Yeah.
pushing the button.
No.
You're pushing the buttons.
Thank you for sharing those because from a place what really inspires me is people who really live their life fully despite all the different challenges that show up and feeling the pain. It's not just trying to be positive. And a lot of the things that I teach in space stress reduction, working with mind and mindset, is we have to acknowledge the pain. It's here. It's not about sugarcoating the pain, but actually befriending it, welcoming it, like, wow, here's a loss, or here's a pain, or here's a trauma. Feel it, be with it. And now, how can I keep transforming myself? How can I use this
Mhm.
pain as fuel? And your story really embodies that, exemplifies this, like really, truly elevating your life in a way that honors all the people you've met. Like you've met so many people, right?
Thousands,
You've thousands,
thousands.
you've touched literally thousands of people and supported them
Yeah.
in their journey.
But I also think that we don't often, you're doing this in this podcast, and I want to give you credit for that, a lot of credit for that, is that you look at people and you think, oh, they've got it all. Look at them. They've got the houses, they've got this, they've got that. But until you actually hear their stories, and that's what's coming up more today in this world. People are
Mm.
sharing their stories. They're sharing the ups and the downs, the tragedies they might have had, and how they got to where they are today. But if we don't take the time to explore that, which you are doing fabulous, and I think that's why your podcast is probably very popular, is you give the chance for people to laugh and to cry.
Yeah.
And I think that is important, that people do need to get that out. They need to express themselves. And by doing that, you're transforming them to say, I am okay now. I am
Yeah.
okay. And I can continue on.
Yeah.
And that is mindfulness. Yeah. And so I try to share, if I can, with different people,
Mm.
but I think there's still that feeling of, I don't want this to be a facade.
But see, that's actually one of your many superpowers. It really is. It's like you're real, you're authentic, and you're not trying to be authentic. You're just being you, allowing yourself to be you. And that's actually so easy to relate to, connect with. And just the first time we connected, I was like,
I know,
I
just
literally,
yesterday.
I just yesterday, literally, I have to tell you, and I think I emailed you about that. I left feeling buzzed, uplifted. I was like, what an amazing human being. Like, I want to hang out with Barbara. I left.
We are going to hang out
We are
together.
gonna. I was like, wow, and I really appreciate that. And I'm,
It's very nice.
yeah, thank you. And I was just aware that I haven't given the first clue to win the tickets to your conference. So I want to mention to the listeners, yes. So the first clue is writing a comment, and if you're listening on YouTube, in the comment section, and just putting accelerate, just the word accelerate in the comment section. If you're listening on the podcast or Spotify or Apple, you can just in the review, make any review, and we'll be selecting someone. So this is the clue. So please go ahead and do that so you can give yourself a chance to win those tickets. Okay. And then I'll share one more clue after. Thank you. And by the way, I'll put the links to the conference and the show notes, all of that. So I'll put all those links after as well. Okay. So I want to go back. We're talking about 3 things that can really support creating change. You talked about determination. The first thing you mentioned, I want to go back to before we maybe do one more, is about relationship marketing. This might be a new term for many people about mindset. And so can you share, what does this mean? Relationship marketing.
Anyone who's in business, and I'll use a business perspective here, has a client, doctor has a patient, hotel has guests, baseball people have managers, etc. We all have someone that we have to connect to in our business. And so it's like, how do you keep that? It's not just about what we do. We've got all this social media stuff. I'm sure we all get bombarded with, we can help you do this. We can do an AI. We can do a chatbot. And I want to go to a deeper level of, no, first of all, I want to know who you are. I want to be genuine. So I want to spend more time listening to you, seeing you, and connecting with you rather than just a transaction. So I don't want to grow a business just for the transactions. I want to grow a business when I feel that I'm providing you with value and we're building something. It doesn't matter if you buy from me. I'll always remember you. We can meet each other in years to come, months to come, weeks from now. And so that's what I mean by, first you have to know the person. You have to know what are their needs, what are their values. You're sharing yours, what's theirs, so that you can walk away saying, you know what, this isn't the right pen for you. I don't want to sell to you. It's what does it mean to really build a relationship with someone where you are doing business with each other. It's more than just the transaction. That's part of it. It was like, I always say, where you are today is maybe where you will be tomorrow. End up with someone that you think, hey, we can do some things together. We can collaborate. We can work together in a very positive way, because you need other people, right? You need to build the team. So it's more of a team building kind of exercise too. That's what relationship marketing is all about. What are your needs? What's your style? We all have different styles. Some people make decisions very fast. Others have to take the time to think about what needs to be done. And you can take a look at your own. I don't know if you have children or not, but sometimes in your children, one makes quick decisions, another one's going to take very long to do it. Does that make them good or bad? No, it means that we're all different. So you need to know what those differences are. And that's how you do the building of relationships. And that's how you do the relationship marketing. Are you a person that needs to touch and feel? Are you a person that needs to smell? Are you a person that needs to see something in writing? It's get to know the person before you try to do the transaction. I was looking at some slippers, just an ordinary little thing, slippers, right? And she came to me and she says, can I help you? Sometimes I just need to walk in them for a bit just to see if they really work. She goes, and they were tied together, right? They were tied together. She goes, let me see what I can do. So she went and she got this pair of scissors. And I thought, God, that's a nice sales lady. She wasn't just trying to sell me something. She was trying to make sure that whatever I was buying, little things like that, whatever I was buying was the right decision for me. And that's simple, but it makes such impact.
Yeah. As you're describing it, it's like having the other person's best interest in mind, like wanting good things for them. And this relationship marketing you're describing, I can see it applying outside of business, just in connection. And how do we build connection, caring for our neighbor, caring for people, family, for friends, and just feels generous, like this relationship marketing.
It's connections. I think you'd really like this person. And so there's nothing in it for you. It's just the generosity of saying, hey, I met this person that I think you really would like. You could probably do things together. I think they're in your neighborhood, or whatever it might be. Can't we make it a better world? Can't we make it so that there's more people that do those things? What community are you supporting? I know that you've done a lot in North Vancouver, and I certainly have done in different places in the world. And I think that what charity do you belong to? Who do you give to? All of those make a difference in our lives. Do they not make you feel good?
Yeah.
Of course they do.
Of course they do, because they move away from just I, me to we, others, community, contribution. And it's thinking bigger, right? Like thinking bigger.
Generosity. Isn't that the word? Generosity?
Yeah, generosity. How beautiful is that?
And it's about giving back to this beautiful world that we live in.
Yes.
We are one world.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is forgotten a lot, but we are one world.
Yeah.
What happens when we're gone? Surely we weren't the only ones here.
Connection. Yeah. So before we go over the conference, I'm really excited about the conference that's coming up. I have just one more thing. I'm curious about mindset qualities. We talked about relationship marketing, determination. I'm wondering of the role of pausing that has supported you in reevaluating things, however the
Oh,
pause it is, whether it's reflecting, pausing on the business, taking a step back. There's so many forms that we can pause in our life to really elevate. And I'm wondering, is there things that you've done like that kind of are your go-tos when you hit some kind of barrier? Do you step back? What helps you?
I have 3 peer support groups
Mm.
and I treasure them. And I have to mention the conference. One of the people is Amanda Ellis, who I met in 2000 in Australia when she was the head of Westpac Bank. And she went on to do so many other things. And she's one of the people that I consider my dear friend, but a peer support group. And then 2 other women, Terry Kavanaugh, Betty Wood, myself. And we meet every month after all these years. We're kindred spirits. Then there's a few other women, Adair Hukad and Nancy Spence. So these are people that we continue to share. We continue to support each other. And then I have what I call my own board. So there's a personal board, there's a business board, and there's an eclectic board. Okay. And I say that because you can't think alone in your head. You can read, you can listen to TV, you can listen to podcasts, you can do all those things, but there's nothing better than the in-person connection with a human voice. And so when I'm making major changes, I open myself up and say, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know what the right decision is. I need help. And don't be afraid to say, I need help.
Yeah.
We're all vulnerable. We're all vulnerable. And there's sometimes that there's barriers in front of you and you go, I don't know how to do that. Is it lack of money? Is it lack of clients? Is it lack of the support that you need? Is it the fear of taking that next step? Giving up my $68,000 salary at Douglas College to say, I'm quitting and I'm going to go in business by myself at the time that there was a recession going on. That was the craziest thing that I could have ever done. What the heck did I do that for? I didn't have anybody to bounce it off of. Now, luckily, I got this group real fast after that, but it was the peer-to-peer support that you need from colleagues, friends, genuine friends.
Yes.
And people you trust, family, friends. When I have a barrier, I open up. Talking to you. You do things. You help people relax, get into the meditative kind of world. I'm no good at breathing. I've never been able to breathe very well. So I don't do yoga because of that.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. You have to know what are your limitations and everything. My kids are all athletic. They all do the great things. To be honest, I don't do sports, period. Don't do sports. That's not me. I swim. That's okay. But
that still counts. You're being active and healthy.
But I'm not as active as I should be. And that's my weakness. But
that might be the homework.
It might be. Do you see what I'm getting at? So I know that's actually my next phase. That's something I want to make sure that I have that personal trainer, someone that's I can't do things on my own in that area. I can read on my own. I can learn on my own. I can write on my own. Did you do your steps today? Did you walk today? Did you do?
Nope.
I'm being honest with them. No,
but
no, I haven't.
You're naming accountability, right? So it's so helpful what you're sharing, right? Accountability in your business, in your personal life. And here you are really like exemplifying change. You're honestly looking at life and saying, oh, wait a minute, here's one area and now I need to focus on and get the right people in to help me elevate that. So it could be a personal trainer, it could be a friend. There it is. So here's one area we're shedding light on. Boom, opportunity to create change.
So can I share with you? That's what a peer group does. That's what I do. That's my other side of my life, is setting up peer-to-peer advisory boards. And we have a monthly check-in that it's called the WILNA. W stands for WILNA, WLNA, the WILNA. And everybody who meets every month in this board must share their WILNA for the month. So every 30 days you meet every month. But the W stands for, what was your win or progress this month. Everybody has to have a win or a progress. Might be something little. I didn't eat more than one bowl full of candy. I don't care what it is. You have a win. The L stands for what lesson did you learn?
Right.
The next one is what is your need? What's your biggest challenge for this month? And the last one is A, accountability. What will you do this month
Oh, wow.
to help you? So it's
So
the win,
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 lesson,
lesson learned, what's your need, challenge,
and
and what's your accountability.
what a
So
beautiful.
then the next one, if you were in my group, you would say to me, so Barbara, you'll start with your accountability. Did you do your accountability? If not, why not? And then you might have to dig deeper. So people have to dig deep. My kids have to dig deeper with me on, Mom, you said you were going to do that walking. Why not? Oh, and I'll make some flimsy excuse. And then but they keep you to that challenge until it's done. But it doesn't matter if you have to repeat it the second month or the third month. You will get there if you're accountable, if you are accountable. So you are right. Accountability is really important. Did you say what you were going to do?
Yes. I love it. I love it. We got a deal.
But that is it.
But
that happens. That should happen in life, right?
Yes. I love that. Is that part of the Grow Your Biz that you've created? So that's part of it. Can you share a little bit about, for those, and I'll put the link to Grow Your Biz as well. Is it growyourbiz.com or .ca?
Yes, it is. Grow Your Biz without the W, please. GROYOURBIZ without the W. Yes. And it's a powerful way in which women who want to take their business to the next growth level, whatever that might mean for them. Does it mean that you want to grow your business to go international? Does it mean you want to grow your business so that you're making more money only? Does it mean that you want to grow your business by 10% this year, 20%? Does it mean that you want to grow your business so you get it ready to sell? Does it mean that you want to grow your business to get a partner involved? It could be anything. You just need to identify it. So it's not about doing a startup. I'm not here to help people start a business. I'm here to help people who have a business and they want to take it to that next growth level, whatever that might mean for them. And we have hybrids now. So at first it was always in person. Now it doesn't matter. So the White Rock Surrey board, because people might be listening to this from this area, White Rock Surrey board has 8 members that meet in person. And then there's one woman, and they needed somebody in marketing, new person that was in Brisbane, Australia. Time zone works because they meet at 5:30 at night. The person in Brisbane, Australia can join them. And then they have somebody from Victoria that joins them. So it's a hybrid where you can have some people that are in person and others come in from different parts of the country. So you can have somebody from Africa. We have some in Calgary. We have someone from New Zealand, someone from Cochrane, Calgary, Edmonton, right? So it doesn't matter. It's all about where is the best time zone that fits for you and who the chair is.
Yeah.
Because the chair has to be an entrepreneur. The chair must be an entrepreneur who knows what it's like to grow a business, maybe lose a business. What were the challenges? Maybe sell a business. Like they need to know what it's like to deal with human resources, finances, marketing. And then we bring in speakers. We might have a toolbox. You came to one of those sessions last month or the month before to White Rock, Surrey, right? And you did something amazing because they're still talking about it. You made them laugh. You did some yoga with them. So we will bring in speakers that are relevant to what are the needs of that group? What are they asking for? That's what Grow Your Biz is about.
What a beautiful way of connecting, learning, growing, supporting each other. Like such an incredible space you've created. And so I'll put the link as well below in the show notes for anyone interested as well. I can't wait to hear about your conference that's coming up and Accelerate 2024. And you've been doing these since, I think, 2015, the conference that began, the first one. So what led you even to start organizing a conference? Is a big thing. It's crazy. It's a mega workload and it's ongoing. So I'm wondering what led you to start a conference, what inspired you? And then would love to hear about this one that's coming up?
I think so. What happens often, and I'm talking about our Grow Your Biz advisory boards, what happens is that we love them, the board's work, etc. But I realize that often it's only about the typical business growth skills. How do I market better? How do I do this better, etc. And I wanted to go beyond that. I wanted to look, and actually one of my first sessions that I put together was collaborating on the future we want in 2030. This was 2015. Collaborating on the future we want in 2030. This is the best way to describe it. So what I did not want is the ordinary business conference. I wanted to create a thought leadership conference, a shift. And I say these words. I want people to have a shift in mindset. I want them to embrace new paradigms, seizing opportunities to excel in their industry, whatever that might mean for them. And you can't do that if you're just listening. Yeah, we know financing, human resources, the usual marketing, etc. How do we go beyond that? How do we go beyond that? And I'll give you the example of the 2015. Again, I used my connections. And it was, what do we have to do? Like, people were just starting to talk about it. It was about the SDGs. And I said, people don't understand the SDGs.
What is that actually?
And
what does that
even
stand
know what they
for?
were, Sustainable Development Goals. And the first thing that the UN had put out was the SDG that by 2000, we will end poverty. Remember, it was all about ending poverty. So then by 2015, there was talk about what are the SDGs we need to have in mind. And there's 17 of them now. What are the Sustainable Development Goals? And I said, people don't understand that. We need to share about it. I brought together Elise Nelson, head of Vital Voices, which was started with Milan Vermeer and Hillary Clinton, and now 118,000 people on it. Amanda Ellis, Sir Richard Branson's B Corp guy, Kevin.
Wow.
And I wanted them in person. But I also wanted the head of the United Nations, who was looking after the SDGs.
Oh, wow.
And I said, Amanda, how do I get him? She goes, let me see if I can help you. Again, it's about helping each other. And his name is Mood Mahilden. He was the vice president for all of the United Nations that was dealing with the SDGs. He had never been to a women's conference, and she convinced him, no, it can't be. Virtual wasn't really part of it at the time anyway. And so he flew on his own dime from Cairo back to Riyadh. And he said, I'll just come and I'll do the session and I'll leave. Like, it was just going to be,
wow.
Yeah, half of the first day. And I went, fine, I don't care. He was fascinated. He did not realize that how many women in small businesses and SMEs, doesn't have to only be small, were involved in one of the SDGs.
What's SMEs for those who are not familiar with it?
Oh, SME stands for small, medium-sized enterprises, not the multi-million-dollar ones at this level. It was just, how do we bring together women who are growing their business as a small, medium-sized business that might be involved in helping women in poverty, in climate action. They were doing all kinds of things, and he was blown away by it. He ended up staying the whole 3 days for the conference. In fact, I had a woman from Tunisia who was we always do some entertainment.
Yeah.
And I have a picture of him in a video. He's up there and one time he's saying this. He's a big guy. Right?
He was having fun.
And Amanda Ellis and I, at the end of it, was, what can we do? And that was the beginning of We Empower You and SD Challenge. Believe it or not, in a 45-minute discussion, it happened. Elise Nelson, Vital Voices. So we're going into our 7th year now.
Wow.
And we did the first one in 2018. So it took 2017, we started it. I'm one of the lead partners because I'm still involved. I've got BMO involved in that one too. Whether they stay or not, I don't know. And Salesforce got them involved. I'm a connector. You need to be involved with this. And so what it is that the United Nations, there's 5 United Nations. So unfortunately, Canada, in the sense that we're so small, we have to be with US and Europe, and then Africa, Southeast Asia, South America, right? There's 5 United Nations.
Yes.
So we sent out, so this whole program was put together basically by Amanda Ellis, UN, etc., and Elise Nelson. And I was a part of it. I'm a judge still to this day. So it goes out to women. They have to identify what SDG, because it was like, how do we get people thinking beyond poverty? It's more than that. It's right. So there's 17 SDGs. And you can look them up, United Nations SDGs, and you'll see the 17 of them. And so then they apply. And there's 5, it gets down to, so the first set of judging is done by Oxford University law students and by the law students in Sandra Day O'Connor's Arizona State University, they're law students. So it dwindles down to 10 from each of the United Nations. I'm one of the judges of those last 10, and I always do the Canadian, etc. Last year, we had the first Canadian winner. And so then we choose 5. So 5 women from Africa, South America, Asia, etc. They all get their expenses paid to come to New York. And the very first year, it was such an honor because we had Antonio Guterres, who honored them in the United Nations, big United Nations. And so we still do that to this day. The application deadline is not too late. What day is today? It's only the 10th today. They have until April 12th to apply. So any woman in the world who has an SDG can apply. And I can send you the link to that. It's called the We Empower UN SDG Challenge. And who knows, you could be a winner. And so we had about 6 candidates from Canada last year. And the person who won was Susan Blanchett from Victoria, Originaire. She'll be at the conference and my conference. But it's amazing what the world can do when we collaborate. So collaborating on the future we want in 2030. So I say that because that's what I wanted to continue. So 2015, then I was going to do it every 2 years because it's too much work. 2017, and then 2020 was all ready to go. COVID happened, So I had to immediately change it to a virtual. And now this year, I want to go back to in person. But I think in my knowledge, and again, did not do the right thing, I should have created a hybrid from the very beginning. And I didn't. So I only added the virtual in the last 2 weeks. And I should have done it a lot sooner. But the reason I didn't is because Klinberger just wrote a book on, I think it's called 2020, 7 places, 7 people, etc. And how he said, there's the good and the bad of virtual. It's, don't you miss the in-person? Don't you miss the hugs? Don't you miss the connections? Don't you miss this is okay. I'm meeting you here, but I want to meet you in person. I want to have a coffee with you. I want to shake your hand. And that's what I was. Tech became the giant. Tech became the winner. We're on Zoom. You're using Riverside. All great. But we can't forget that it's in-person connections. If we lose that, humanity can't lose that. I have a session that is on AI, the good, the bad. It's a global disruptor. Is it good or is it harmful? It can be good for health and medical and environmental, but is it good for everybody? Do you want to chat with somebody? Do you want to know that the person's writing to you using chat box? Like, I don't. I want real. So that's what our conference is all about. It's the people that I've chosen. They're coming from Geneva. They're coming from the Netherlands. They're coming from Hawaii. They're coming from the US. They're coming from Canada. In other words, they're coming from Africa. It's a global international conference so that people can receive actionable strategies. The ones that are going to come in person, they're going to meet each other in person. They're going to get insight. They're going to get tools that they can take back to implement in their own business. We want you to return to your businesses excited and continue to grow and continue to keep those relationships going. I still have a relationship with a woman that moved from Afghanistan to the UK, Mabuba Wazizi. I still have a relationship. We can still talk. Bola Olabisi, 27 people I did her, and she does innovators and inventors. I did a session for her 3 weeks ago. This is where virtual comes in. Love that part. But we can't stay there. There's sometimes you have to meet the people and you have a chance to speak to them. and you have a chance to ask them other questions. And you can say, I'm struggling with this. You said some really good things. So I have some of the sessions include changemakers catalyzing sustainable global futures. Let me just share who's on that. Who are the panelists on that one, just so you get a sense.
Yeah, let's do that. Then I'll share the final clue to win these tickets before we end.
Thank you. Someone will probably not recognize the name Hank Rogers. Who's Hank Rogers? No, I don't know who Hank Rogers. Then I'll say to them, do you know the game that was called Tetris? And they'll go, yeah, Tetris. I played Tetris. And I said, Hank Rogers was the person who in the 60s was in married to a wonderful Japanese woman, etc., into tech, doing some things, and finds out about this game Tetris. And he wants to know, well, who invented this? A guy by the name of Alex from Russia. He is trying to get it, and he can't. And he goes, what do I have to do? So he flies to Russia. This is in the late 60s, 70s. The mafia is involved. Mafia from UK is involved. It's a great movie, and I didn't know it existed. The movie was just produced by Apple. So if you go to Apple TV and you look up Tetris, you will see the whole story of Hank Rogers and how he got the game. And it became a billion-dollar industry. It's okay. And now what is he doing? And how did I get connected to him? My good friend Amanda lives in Hawaii, head of ASU's, Arizona State University's Global Sustainable Institute. How did she get involved with that? Julie Wrigley, the multi-billion-dollar person who had the Wrigley gum, right? Is an heiress, right, to that. She hired Amanda. Amanda runs that institute at ASU. And it's okay. All of these connections happen. And so then I find out I'm at the We Empower in New York, still go there. 3 years ago, I meet Hank. And I think he's still Tetris. I don't know what he does. What is he involved in this climate stuff? Because he saw the importance of it. And he started what is called Blue Planet Alliance, Blue Planet Energy, Blue Planet Foundation. And now his whole focus is he's the only one that got in Hawaii to get everyone doing solar roofs. He got Hawaii, the first state, to agree that they will be 100% renewable energy by the year 2045. Wow. 6 states now have followed him. He's in BC, hoping to meet with some of our provincial people, hoping to meet with some of our electrical people. Do you think anybody has agreed to meet with him? And I've been hounding it for weeks now.
Wow.
Like provincial government, I'm sorry, we're busy on our little thing. He is here to offer people information on how do you change. We're supposed to be the greenest planet or greenest province, and yet we see so far behind. So I thought, okay, you know what I'm doing? Because he believes in the future he believes that it's the youth. So I'm giving 20 students it's a luncheon, a $250 luncheon. And I'm going to have that luncheon full in the Pan Pacific. And I'm giving it to 20 students to come and listen because he wants to talk to the youth. And he's going to work on all the islands. He brings youth. He calls them global ambassadors. The youth are the global ambassadors, and they are truly our global ambassadors. And I think I have my grandchildren coming. They're older though. They're 18 and 15, but it doesn't matter. 14, 15. This is when you influence them, yes. Right? And so they'll come to the luncheon. They'll hear him speak. That's one example on the panel. The second person is Monique Maison. I met Monique in the Netherlands in 2013. And she was the first one that I knew that had a huge operation helping the fishermen in the oceans to get the plastics and created called Waste to Wear. Can you see? Whoops, how do I do this? See this?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
It's called
Waste
to Wear. Wow.
Waste to Wear. And now it's not just plastic bottles. Now she's an engineer. She's a brilliant mind. So she came to 2015 conference, 2017 conference, 2021 conference, She'll be here. She's another speaker. And now she's doing things. People don't realize that there's plastics in refrigerators and plastics in everything. So now she's come up with formulas She is so big now, and she is amazing, and she's so giving. Look, they still come to my little conference in Vancouver. I'm a nobody, but they know I'm sincere. They know I'm sincere, and I'm going to bring together the best people. Nicole Rycroft, Canopy. She has been chosen not by Tech Talks, but by Tech Global to be one of the 10 audacious projects. Again, all about how can we have actionable strategies and how do we drive sustainability initiatives? What are they? And then I have Mariah Linton, who is now in BMO. BMO's so embracing this, the concept of sustainability and ecosystems that have to change. So I'm thrilled with that. And of course, Amanda Ellis. And then I want to go back to your mindset. So that's a luncheon. The other one part is the gala. And the gala, I'm selling individual tickets for $150, but if you want to do everything you can. And I have a revered spiritual mentor, author, speaker, radio host, personality, founder and director of a meditation center. And her name is Dr. Sister Jenna. And she has been honored by President Obama. She has been honored by Oprah, pictures with them. I think that if you read her bio, you will see that she has been chosen as one of the most evolutionary leaders of the world. And she's amazing.
Wow.
And
She'll be at the conference.
She'll be at the conference. You can meet her. You can talk to her. You can embrace her. She's just a revered mentor, spiritual mentor. So I thought, I want to have business. Yes. Real action. Yes. She's starting a series that already has started. And that's why it's going to be filmed in Vancouver. I think a lot of the podcast called One Love. Can we get better than that? That's one of my endings.
Wow.
And then in between, I have Dr. Sue Abu Hakima, initially from Iraq, who is way ahead of her time. She launched 2 AI companies because there's lots of AI speakers out there, right? Lots of them. Do you know that some of them have the audacity to ask to be on a panel $50,000, $75,000 because they wrote a book or something like that? And I just went, that's not what I'm about. It's not about that. I want real people that know what it's about. Dr. Sue Abu Hakima is one of those people, and I'm so grateful. So she just, as of yesterday, on the 9th, her new book came out. But of course, she has had 2 AI startups that she was able to exit successfully. And she gets what I'm trying to say. It's not just about crazy ideas and you're going to make the world. It's about what's the good or the bad. What are we going to learn? So she calls her book Entrepreneur, Heretic or Hero of Innovation, Lessons from 2-time Successful AI Tech Startup Entrepreneur. And she will be there. I will give a book. I've bought 100 of her books.
Oh, wow.
Just out yesterday. So I've bought 100 of her books. She's signing them. She's doing a session, a 90-minute session. So that's an example of a workshop session. So we have plenaries, we have gala, we have plenary sessions. The other plenary session we have, which if anybody's listening to this, you might know that labor shortage is a big thing. And where do you get the labor? How are you dealing with labor shortage and attracting talent? I have my own children-run companies that are in the area of construction, right? Plumbing, electrical, it doesn't matter. They're looking for people. So I have 2 speakers that are the heads in that area. One that deals with immigration and refugees. How do we connect them with these labor shortage areas? And then the other one is CCRW, which deals with disabilities. And you can be hard of hearing. Can you get a job? No, you're trying to say, how do we match up talent? How do we deal with labor shortage? You need talent. You need labor. How do you deal with that? And then ESGs. Again, people might not know the term, but it's about all the elements of growing a business that is environmental, sustainable, and ethical, right?
Mm.
Big topics, but people are
Wow.
not understanding them or embracing them,
Yeah.
and they need to. And then another big one that for 40 years now, I've been harping on this, and still a problem: access to capital, investing with a gender lens. So I told you the story about the SFU guy who
Yes.
said, if it was your husband, I asked for my first business that I wanted to start in 1986. I needed $5,000. I went to a bank and they said, your husband would have to co-sign for you. And I said, my husband's not working. I'm the one working.
Wow.
So access to capital, investing with a gender lens. What's new? What's the latest? And I have amazing people on that
Wow.
panel too. Yeah, it is a powerhouse. I've got 58 speakers actually
Yeah.
with them. Yeah, over 50 speakers. And I'm open to sharing those speakers with any one of your people that might want to be part of a draw that I think I'm giving away to
Yes.
you.
Yes. Yes.
To you, Kazim. I leave it to you.
Yeah.
But come and meet these people. You can't get better than Monique Maison, Hank Rogers, Amanda Ellis, Nicole Rycroft, Suhab Abu. And then I also have my opening reception. I forgot to mention her, Natalie Plamondon Thomas. She is going to it's neuroscience behind success. And I don't want to make a mistake. So what she does is how mastering your mind can revolutionize your business and personal life. 30 minutes of her is amazing. And it's a transformative journey. Harness your brain's full potential and accelerate your path to success. So she's the opening speaker.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
speakers throughout.
You truly are a connector, a heart connector of bringing good people, amazing people. And I'm so grateful to you for incredible generosity of truly offering all these tickets. So for the final thing that anyone wants to win those tickets, so I mentioned if you're watching on YouTube to be putting in the comments section, accelerate. If you haven't subscribed, then clicking subscribe. If you're on YouTube, if you're on any other podcast or Apple, just writing any review with the word accelerate. That's all you need to do. Then we'll reach out to you and we will announce the winners. There'll be tickets that will be given away. Don't miss out. Don't miss out. And then we will reach out to you and give you the code that you need to register. I want to also extend.
Kazim, can I just add something to that? That obviously my goal first and foremost is to have you in person so you can meet these people and shake their hands. But it doesn't matter wherever you live.
Yes.
You can live on the moon.
Yes.
You can enter.
You can still get online.
So we are doing every session will be live streamed, virtual sessions. So it's been opened up virtually as well. That's where the hybrid comes in.
Yes, and if you get the online as well, you'll have a recording for after. If you can't attend all of it, you'll still have a recording.
Absolutely.
So you'll have
free
access with the coupon that we'll give you. Thank you so much. Truly, what an incredible, beaming, heart, shining star of a human being. Truly, I was just like taken aback with this depth and humbleness and realness. I've so deeply enjoyed connecting with you. I really feel this is the beginning of a lot of connection. And I look forward to shaking your hand in person. But really want to thank you for the generosity of time, even here, being here and sharing your journey, your wisdom, and your passion for life. What an exemplar of living life and with fulfillment despite all the challenges. Thank you again for watching, everyone. Thank you for listening. If you found this useful and helpful, feel free to share and subscribe as always. Thank you again. And I want to extend a final thank you. I feel like I want to say thank you over and over to you, Barbara. But you've been amazing. Thank you for your time. May your moments.
I look forward to seeing you in person.
Thank you so much.
Bye for now.
Thanks, everyone. May your moments be filled with ease and may you be present in as many of them. Thank you.